Hi guys, welcome everyone. Today we are going to start paper discussion. Okay, so I hope everybody are doing well and everyone are preparing very hard for JEE. And don't worry if someone got low marks. Okay, so just go through with the paper solution. Okay, and then try to do better next time. Okay, so without any further ado, we are going to start discussion of paper. Okay. So the first question is we have to find the common tangent between these three curves. The curve is the first curve is parabola is given y square is equal to 4 times x plus 1, right? And the second parabola given x square equal to 4 y plus 1, and there is a circle also given x square plus y square is equal to 1, right? Okay. And it's saying that common tangent is making a common tangent is ax plus by plus 4 equal to 0. We don't know a and b, and the area that the line is making with the coordinate axis we have to find, right? Okay, so first of all, if this is a common tangent, then let's find about the common tangent. So what is the common tangent for the parabola p? What is the common tangent between the parabola p1 and p2? So for p1, equation of tangent is y is equal to mx plus a by m. For y square equal to 4ax, the equation is y is equal to mx plus a by m. Here is x plus 1. So similarly for the shifting of origin, so y equal to m times x plus 1 plus a by m, and a is what? 1 by m, right? So this is a tangent to the parabola p1. Okay. And for the parabola p2, so it is the equation of tangent, right? Equation of tangent to p1. Okay. Now for parabola p2, how we find the equation of tangent? Tell me. So for p2, so for equation of tangent on p2, that is x square equal to 4ay. How we find? We replace x by y and y by x, right? And in this situation, these are the common tangent. The slope will be same. So instead of replacing m by capital M, we are replacing m by small m, right? Okay. So what will be the equation of tangent? So equation of tangent on P2 would be replace y by, right? So P2 would be y plus 1 is equal to mx minus m square, right? Mx minus m square. So let's say this is your equation 2. Let's say this is your equation 2. And what is the first equation? First equation is this. Right? Okay. So now the equation 1 and equation 2 are the same common tangent, right? Right? So equation 1 and equation 2 are same line because they are common tangent. Yes or no? They are common tangent, right? So when two lines are equal, it means these two lines are equal. It implies what? The coefficient of x a1 by a2 equal to coefficient of y b1 by b2 is equal to coefficient of constant c1 by c2, right? So in this case, we will get what? We get m by m is equal to 1 by 1 is equal to m plus 1 by m divided by minus 1 minus m square, right? Okay. Okay. So now what I'm doing is now to find the equation of to find the slope m. I'm equating these two. Okay. Now equate these two. What you will get? You get m plus 1 by m is equal to minus 1 minus m square. Okay. So here you will get the cubic equation in m, right? Cubic equation in m. So equation would be m cube plus m square plus m plus 1 equal to 0. Okay. So what are the solution? So what are the solution? Solution is m square equal to minus 1 and m square equal to, sorry, okay. So after solving this, you get one you get m square equal to minus 1, and for other you get m equal to minus 1. Okay. So these two things you get. So this gets rejected. Why? Because there is a common tangent which is real, right? Its slope is real. So therefore the m square cannot be minus 1. So it gets rejected. So what is your m? M is minus 1, right? Now put m in equation. Put m in equation 1 or equation 2, in either equation, because both are the same equation, because they are the common tangent. So the equation of common tangent to P1 and P2 is x plus y plus 2 equal to 0. Okay. So x plus y plus 2 equal to 0 is the common tangent to what? P1, P2, not to the P1, P2 C. We don't know still that the P1, P2, this equation that x plus y plus 2 equal to 0 is the tangent to the circle. See, if it is not the tangent to the circle, then in that case, there is no common tangent that exists, right? So how you find the equation? See, the circle is, what is circle given? X square plus y square equal to 2, right? This is the circle given, right? Now see, circle is x square plus y square equal to 2, right? So 0, 0, right? And radius is what? X square plus y square plus equal to 2, right? Center 0, 0, radius is root 2, right? And check if this tangent is the, if this equation is the tangent to the circle, then distance equal to r, right? And now check the distance. Put the 0, 0 and check the distance. You get p equal to r. Okay, you get p equal to r. So p is equal to r. It implies x plus y plus z is common tangent to p1, p2 and circle C. Okay. Okay. So now you have the common tangent, right? Now you have the equation of line. Now it's easy to find the area, right? So line is x plus y plus 2 equal to 0, right? So it should be like this. It should be like this, right? X plus y plus 2 equal to 0. What is this coordinate? Minus 2, 0. What is this coordinate? 0, minus 2, right? So which area you have to find? This area, right? This area we have to find. Yes or no? Yes or no? So what is the area? Area is the area of triangle half base height, which is 2, right? So the answer is 2 for this question, right? Okay. So now let's proceed. Now the question 2. See, question 2 is fx is given, fx is some cubic, and the information that we have is that f dash 2 is equal to 0. Okay. Then we have to find some range of b, and we have to decide which b cannot take which value. Okay. So this is your question. What is the f of x? X cube plus ax square plus b. Yes or no? So f dash x. Okay. So f of x is x cube plus ax square plus b. Yes or no? So f dash x, find. What is f dash x? 3x square plus 2ax. Yes or no? Yes or no? One thing is given, f dash 2 is 0. It implies 12 plus 4a equal to 0. So a is minus 3, right? A is minus 3. Yes or no? Okay. So now you got the a is minus 3. So f of x become x cube minus 3x square plus b, right? One information that is given is that f of x has 3 real and distinct root. Okay, real and distinct root. So this is the very critical information. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm equating it to 0. Okay, if this equation has 3 real and distinct root, so after equating equal to 0, I get the 3 roots, right? So what this become? This become x cube minus 3x square equal to minus b, right? Okay, so now see what I'm doing is I'm plotting the graph of x cube minus 3x square. Okay, what graph I'm plotting? X cube minus 3x square. So when you plot the graph of x cube minus 3x square, you will get something like this. Okay, you will get something like this. Okay, and what is I'm denoting this as g of x. Okay, let's say this is a g of x. Okay, okay, now see, this is the graph of g of x, yes or no, which is x cube minus 3x square. What value it is taking at 2? At 2, its value is minus 4, yes or no? Its value is minus 4, yes or no? And now it's saying that equation has the 3 real and distinct root. It implies gx equal to minus b should have 3 distinct roots, yes or no? Yes or no? So now see what I'm doing is I'm taking a line y equal to minus some constant. Tell me y equal to minus b if there's some line. For how should this line cut to g of x so that we get 3 distinct roots? Tell me. See, if I cut this like this, am I getting 3 roots? Yes, sir, you are getting 3 roots like this. So it means this b should be between minus 4 and 0. Yes or no? It means this b should be between minus 4 and 0. Then only I can get 3 real and distinct roots. Yes or no? Right? So it implies b should be between 4 and 0. Strictly, it shouldn't be 0. B cannot be 0. If b is 0, then I am getting only 2 roots, right? See, at b equal to 0, I am getting only 2 roots. Yes or no? I am getting only 2 roots. See, at b equal to 0, I am getting only 2 roots. And at b equal to 4, it means this line, right? I'm getting only 1 and 2 root. So it means b shouldn't be 0 and shouldn't be 4. It is strictly between 0 and 4, right? So now which value b cannot take? Now you can see, right? B cannot be equal to 5, right? So whichever option it is. So now you can check, right? Is this clear? Okay. So that's why there is no other way to get the range of b, right? So only way, right? The information is given that it is has distinct 3 distinct roots. So we find that equation and then we equate g of x equal to minus b, right? Okay. This is clear, right? Okay. So now the next question. Okay. This question is little interesting one, nothing hard, just little interesting the how the information is presented upon us, right? See, it's saying that there is a hyperbola xy equal to 4. It has the, what we are doing is we are taking the 4 points on the hyperbola and we are drawing a normal. The 4 normals we draw, okay? And what happens was those 4 normals are happen to be intersect at this point 3, 2, right? Okay, and those point are x1, x2, y1, y x1, x2, x2, x1 and y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, x4, y4, right? And then we have to find some relation between this. So how we find this? Okay, tell me first of all, for hyperbola xy equal to c square, we all know for hyperbola xy equal to c square, what is the equation of normal? What is the equation of normal? Okay, I write this. Equation of normal would be xt cube minus yt minus ct raised to the power 4 plus c equal to 0. Yes or no? Right? Okay. And on this hyperbola, general points are c by d comma ct. Yes or no? Or you can do this okay, this thing, but we all derive for this thing, right? All the equation that we derive for taking the general point ct comma c by t, right? So this is the equation of normal. Yes or no? We all know this. Okay. So now let's say some h comma k point is passing on this. Okay. Some h comma k is passing on it. Okay. Okay. So now we are not doing for 3 comma 2. We are doing for general h comma k. Then we will substitute at the end h equal to 3 and k equal to 2, right? Okay. See, it normal passes through 3 h comma k, right? Normal passes through h comma k. Then how do you do? You put the h comma k in the equation. Yes or no? This is how we do it, right? So now put the equation. So you get c h c. Okay. Okay, I don't write this. I will write this with you guys. Okay. So what you get? You get, tell me fast what you get. You get c t raised to the power 4 minus h t cube plus kt minus c is equal to 0. Yes or no? Yes or no? And how many root it has? It is a degree 4 equation. It has 4 root: t1, t2, t3, t3 and t4. Okay. Okay. So this is the equation that we got. So I'm writing again this equation. I'm writing here c t raised to the power 4 minus h t cube plus kt minus c is equal to 0, which has 4 root t1, t2, t3 and t4. So what is the sum of root? What is the sum of root? Sum of root is sum of t1, right? Sum of root is sum of t1, right? So sum of root is sum of t1, which is minus b by a, which is h by c. So it implies I'm taking c there, okay, on the left hand side. So it becomes sum of ct1, yes or no, which is equal to h, and ct1 is what? Ct1 is what? X coordinate is, right? The general x coordinate is ct, right? So this is the summation of four coordinates. So this is the summation of x1, which is h. Okay, so let's call this equation 1. Okay. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I need y1 plus y2 plus y3 plus y4. Yes, because it is asking the question. So what is y1 plus y2? Summation of y1, right? Summation of y1, which is c times 1 by t1 plus 1 by t2 plus 1 by t3 plus 1 by t4. Yes or no? Yes or no? Because y is c by t and there are 4 points. So c by t1, c by t2, c by t3, c by t4. Now solve this. You get summation of t1, t2, t3, sum of root taken 3 at a time divided by product of root. Okay. Okay, sir. Now what is sum of root taken 3 at a time? Tell me. It would be minus k by c, yes or no? And product of root would be minus c by c, which is minus 1, right? So summation of y you get k. Okay. Summation of y which you get k. It's the, let's call this equation 2. Okay, students, let's call this equation so far we got summation of x, summation of y, right? Now what is left? X1, x2, x3, x4, right? So similarly, what is x1, x2, x3, x4. It is ct1, ct2, ct3, ct4, c raised to the power 4, t1, t2, t3, t4. Yes or no? And t1, t2, t3, t4 is product of roots of that equation, right? So c raised to the power 4 minus c by c, which is minus c raised to the power 4, right? So it means product of roots is minus c raised to the power 4, right? Okay. So what is asking in the question? Tell me. In the question, they ask you summation of root, summation of x1 times summation of y1 divided by product of x1. This is what they ask, right? Summation of x1 is what? Summation of x1 is h, summation of y is k divided by minus c raised to the power 4. Now h is 3, y is, sorry, k is 2, right? Now replace h comma k with 3 comma 2. K is 2 and c is what? C is also 2 because xy is equal to 4. So c square is 4. So c is 2, right? So what you get? You get minus 3 by 8. Okay. So whichever option it is, that is the I assume that is the C option, I guess. So C is the answer. Okay. So is this clear? So this is the very easy problem, right? Nothing we have to do. So whatever the question is asking for the requirement of question, we are considering our equation and we are getting the equations right? Okay. Any doubt? You shouldn't have no doubt, right? Okay. Now let's see the fourth one. The fourth question is, it's a very important question. You can mark star on this question, I can say. It's a good question. The question is, the equation of ellipse is given and m is the minimum value of the segment of tangent to the ellipse. Okay, what is small m? Small m, see what I'm doing is, okay, let me draw the ellipse first, then I will explain the question to you. So ellipse is like this, right? Ellipse is right dick and it is elongated, right? This is the equation of ellipse, right? What is this point? This point is 12, 0 and that point is 0, 9, right? Okay. Okay. So what it's saying that small m is the equation of, we are drawing some tangent. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm drawing a tangent. Okay. Let me draw a tangent first. Okay, let's say this is the tangent. Okay. So what is the point of, this is the point, right? This is the point, yes or no? Yes. Okay. So what he's saying is, this tangent, it is intercepting at point A and B. A and B, and the question is saying that AB is such that it is the minimum value. So AB is such that it is the minimum value and that minimum value is M. Okay. That minimum value is M. Okay. And what is the maximum value? Maximum value is the capital M. What is the capital M? For capital M, what you do? The question is saying it is the, from the capital M be the maximum distance of the center of the ellipse from the normal. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing the normal from this point. Let's say this point. Okay. Okay. So this line, right? This line is the capital M. Okay. This line is the capital M. This is the tangent. This is the normal. And this distance is capital M. Okay. This distance is capital M, right? Okay. So it is the maximum. So this is, okay, let's start solving. Then what we have to find? We have to find the product of capital M and small m, right? Okay. So how you find the equation of, what is the equation of tangent? Equation of tangent is what you find, what you can assume this point, a cos theta comma b sin theta, which means 12 cos theta comma 9 sin theta, right? 9 sin theta. Okay, so now start solving. So equation of tangent can be written as this point is on the tangent, so replace x by x1, y by y1, then you get the equation of tangent, right? So it can be written as x cos theta by 12 plus y sin theta by 9 is equal to 1. Okay, so what is the a point? A is, for point A you put the y 0, so you get 12 sec theta comma 0, and for B put x 0, so you get 0 comma 9 cosec theta. Okay, okay, so now we have to small m, right? Small m is AB, so now find AB first. Find AB first. AB is distance of these 2 points. We know the coordinate of A and coordinate of B, so under root 12 sec theta whole square plus 9 cosec theta whole square, right? So you solve it, you get 144 sec square theta plus 81 cosec square theta. Okay, see what I'm doing is I'm converting this in the terms of tan and cot. So sec square theta is 1 plus tan square theta and cosec is 1 plus cot square theta, right? So you do this, you get 144 plus 144 tan square theta plus 81 cosec square theta. Okay, now see what I'm trying to do is I am, see 144 and plus 81 is, okay, see it, what I'm doing is I'm subtracting 216 and adding 216. You will get to know why I'm doing this now. Okay, first of all add this 144 and 81, so you get 225, and now plus 216 plus the rest is what? Rest is the 12 tan theta minus 9 cot theta whole square, right? So this is the perfect square of 12 tan theta minus 9 cot theta whole square, right? AB, which is m, right? This is m, this is m. Now for minimum value of m, what you do? For minimum value of m, for m to be minimum, 12 tan theta minus 9 cot theta is 0, right? Okay, so if it has asked you the coordinate of the point on ellipse, then you would have done it, solve it, find the tan theta and then put the equation and you get the coordinates, right? But it is not asking, it is asking m and capital M, right? Product of these two. So what is the small m now? Small m becomes under root of 225 plus 216. So small m is 21. Okay, so small m value has come. Okay, now we have to find the capital M value, right? Okay, so what is the equation of normal on the ellipse? Tell me equation of normal. Now equation of normal is a square x by x1 minus b square y by y1 is equal to a square minus b square, right? You know a, b, x1 is y1. So the normal is, so equation of normal that you will get, you get 12x by cos theta minus 9y by sin theta is equal to 63. Okay, 63. So now what is capital M? Capital M is the distance of point on center, that is 0, 0 perpendicular, right? Perpendicular distance from the 0, 0 on the normal. So when you find the distance, what is the formula to find the find the distance from a point on a line? Constant upon under root a square plus b square, right? So it becomes 63 divided by under root 144 sec square theta plus 81 cosec square theta, right? See, now the same thing happened. Now we have to find maximum value of capital M, right? For maximum value of capital M, my this denominator has to be minimum. Yes or no? My denominator has to be minimum. And just now we have derived what is the minimum value, right? So this capital M. So this capital M can be written as similarly under root of 215 plus 216 plus 12 tan theta minus 9 cot theta whole square. Yes or no? Now for the maximum value of capital M, this has to be 0. It implies capital M is 63 divided by, this is what? 21. What is this? 21, right? Right? 21. Capital M when 12 tan theta minus 9 tan theta is equal to 0 because capital M is maximum distance, right? Okay. So capital M we know small m and capital M is what? Now we get the answer, right? Small m capital M is 21 times 63 by 21. So 63 is your right answer. Okay. Any doubt, student? See, so it is an important question. Now you can also find the coordinates of the point on ellipse, right? By getting the theta from this equation, right? But it has asked small m capital M product. So that is the other answer, right? Okay. Now the next question. Next question is saying that it is a very easy question, easy one, right? I hope everyone has got the right answer of this question. Okay. So the equation is alpha, beta, gamma are the positive directions of the XYZ axis respectively. Okay, on the line. So it means alpha, beta, gamma. It means from the question one thing is clear. From the question one thing is clear that cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma are direction cosines, right? They are direction cosines, and we know the formula. One thing about direction cosine identity, that cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma is equal to 1. Okay. So see, this equation is already given in the question just by stating that a line is inclined at angle alpha, beta, gamma with positive direction of XYZ axis. Okay. So it means this equation we should already know. Okay. If someone got this equation right, then it means he has solved the question rightly. Okay. And now for the second equation, it's saying beta plus gamma is pi by 2. Beta plus gamma is pi by 2. Right? And now this equation is given. We have to find the maximum possible value of it. Okay. So let's solve this. Okay. So how you do this? First of all, beta and gamma is given. So beta can be written as pi by 2 minus gamma. Take cos both sides. So cos beta is sin gamma, right? Cos beta is sin gamma. Okay. So what I'm doing is what this can be written? It can be written cos square alpha plus cos square beta, and cos square gamma can be written as 1 minus sin square gamma equal to 1. Okay. See, sin gamma and cos beta are equal. So it implies sin square gamma cos square beta are equal, and this one can cancel out. So what we are left with? It means cos alpha is 0. cos alpha is 0 we got. So now let's start finding the maximum possible value of the required equation. So the equation is given cos alpha plus sin beta plus sin gamma, okay, whole square, right? But cos beta alpha is already 0, yes or no? So it means sin beta plus sin gamma whole square. Expand this. You get sin square beta plus sin square gamma plus 2 sin beta sin gamma. Okay, 2 sin beta sin gamma. 2 sin beta sin gamma. But students, we know we know that cos beta is sin gamma. This thing we know, right? This thing we know, cos beta is sin gamma. So what I'm doing is I'm writing this sin beta as 1 minus cos square beta. Okay, so you can write this as sin square beta plus sin square gamma. I'm writing as 1 minus what? Tell me. Sin square gamma can be written as, okay, see, sin square gamma can be written as cos square beta, right? Cos square beta, right? Because sin gamma are equal. Sin gamma cos beta are equal, right? So you can write this cos square beta plus 2 sin beta cos beta. Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. So this thing is 1. So it become, and 2 sin beta cos beta is sin 2 beta, right? So now see, this is your some equation E. Maximum value of sin, see, sin beta 2 beta ranges from sin 2 beta ranges from -1 to 1. Yes or no? So 1 plus sin 2 beta would be from 0 and 2, right? So maximum value is 2, right? So maximum value is 2, right? So this is the answer. Okay, this is the answer. Okay, so right, easy question. So the, if you know that the cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma direction cosine, then one equation you already know that the cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma are 1. And for the second equation, that beta plus gamma is pi by 2, you use that. So cos alpha is 0. Then after that is the basic maths, right? The basic trigonometry, right? So then let's move on to the next one. Okay, 7. See, this question looks very scary because we have to find the value x raised to the power some big number 2015 plus y raised to the power 2017 plus z raised to the power 2019, right? And look at the options 1, 2, 3, right? See, you have only one equation, right? You have only one equation. One equation, 3 unknown, right? One equation, 3 unknown. So there is no way you can find, you can use some trigonometry and find the answer, right? Because there is no way you can solve the 3 unknown variable with only one equation. So one thing that you can do is, see, from the option it looks like try putting the minimum maximum value in such kind of question. Okay, student, try to put minimum maximum value in such kind of question. So hit and trial method, and the best possible guess for it would be the minimum or maximum value. Okay, see, what I'm doing is, if I put my signs, if, see, what I'm doing is, if I put my sine inverse x, if I put my sine inverse x as pi by 2, sine inverse x as pi by 2, and cos inverse y is pi, right? They are the maximum values of sine inverse and cos inverse. Don't consider cos inverse z for now, just focus on these two. So it becomes, so 3 sine inverse x plus 4 cos inverse y become 3 pi by 2 plus pi, which is 3 pi by 2 plus 4 pi, which is 11 pi by 2. And it is equal to RHS. Yes or no? It is equal to RHS, right? So what does this mean? It implies, sir, cos inverse z you can put now 0. I don't need cos inverse z because I already got by putting sin inverse x pi by 2 and cos inverse by pi, right? So it implies what? It implies one more thing, that sin inverse x is pi by 2. It implies x is 1, cos inverse x is, cos inverse y is pi, so y is minus 1, and z is 0, right? So now you can find the equation. Now you can find the equation, right? Now you can find it. So what is it given? It's given x raised to the power 2015, 17, 19, right? Okay. So x raised to the power 2015 plus minus 1, 2017 plus 0, right? Plus 0. Sorry, right? So z would be 1. Sorry, there is a mistake, guys. See, cos inverse z is 0. It means cos z would be 1, right? Z would be 1, right? For z1, then only cos theta. See, cos 1 is what? See, cos 0 is 1, right? So cos inverse 1 is 0, right? So 1 raised to the power 2019. So what you get? 1 minus 1 plus 1, which is 1, right? Which is 1. So what is the answer? Now you can see the answer, right? Okay. So any doubt? So these type of question can only solution for these type of question is hit and trial method, and the best way to hit and trial is try putting minimum and maximum value, right? And then try to do it. Okay. Now see the example. This is similar to the last example. Okay, this is similar to the last question. You have only one equation here also. X raised to the power 4 minus 2x square cos theta plus 1, and there are two unknowns, x and theta, right? Okay, so how I will solve this? See, what I'm doing is x raised to the power 4 minus 2x square cos theta plus 1 equal to 0. So what do you do? What you do? See, plus 1 is equal to 2x square. Okay, divide by 2x square. Divide equation by x square. Sorry. So you get x. See, I'm writing it in the next page. Okay, so you get x square plus 1 by x square is equal to 2 cos theta. Yes or no? Okay, so see, something interesting is happening here. If anyone can see that, see, x square plus 1 by x square is always greater than equal to 2, right? And this 2 cos theta is between minus 2 and 2. Yes or no? See, x square plus 1 by square is in the form of t plus 1 by t, right? See, we know that t plus 1 by t is greater than 2 when t is greater than 0, or and greater less than equal to minus 2 for t less than 0, right? So at what point this equality holds? At x at 2 only, right? When x square plus 1 by x square becomes 2 and 2 cos theta becomes 2, then only this equation can hold, right? Because this is greater than 2 and this is less than equal to 2, right? So it implies x square plus 1 by x square 2 and cos theta is 1, right? So x can be plus minus 1 and theta can be, theta is between 0 and 2 pi. So theta can be 0 or 2 pi. So how many ordered pair you are getting? 1 2 pi, minus 1 2 pi, then 1 0, then minus 1 0, right? So 4 ordered pair, right? Ordered pair, right? Right? So see, that's why. So don't worry when you have two equation, one equation, two unknown. There is some and another way that you will get the answer of that question by just using the range. So how this, how my LHS is varying, how my RHS is varying. Okay, so in this case, the only way that this equality holds at x equal to 2 only, right? So this type of question can be done with the logic also, right? In the previous question, we use the hit and trial method. Here we didn't need the hit and trial method, right? Because there is only one way that this equality hold, and it is at 2, right? Okay, so this thing is clear, right? Okay, now the next question. It is a easy question, right? I hope everyone has solved this one. The question is saying that we have the n observation x1 x2 up to xn such that summation of xi is given 200 and summation of xi square is given, sorry, 200 and summation of xi is 40. Okay, so we have to find the possible value of n among their some options is given. Okay, so possible value of n means there okay, and if this is single correct, it means one is not in the range of n, others are range of n, right? If it is single correct, which I believe it is, right? Okay, so see, one thing you know that observation are x1 x2 xn, right? Observation can be negative, can be positive, right? We don't know what is x1 x2 xn, but so we will get the, we will take the benefit of that, that we don't know that observation can be negative or can be positive, right? So but one thing is sure, that my xi square, squaring each observation then add, is greater than or equal to summation of xi square. Yes or no? Tell me. Tell me if this inequality is clear. Because when I'm doing the summation of xi, if the observation is negative, some observation negative, then summation of xi will be some small number. But at the same time, the squaring that negative observation can become positive, and so the summation of xi square is still be bigger number, right? So that's why this equality always hold, right? Okay, so this equality holds, then it means summation of xi square by n and dividing the left hand side with a small number and right hand side with bigger number, so that we don't have any confusion now. Now see, I'm dividing the right hand side with n square. So dividing with the bigger number will shrink this number much more, right? And there might be, I don't know if it is inequality hold or not, just let's say if it is hold, right? Okay, so greater than equal to, right? Okay, it can be greater than also, right? See now, what is summation of xi square? 200 by n. Yes or no? Greater than equal to summation of xi is given 40, so 40 square by n square. Yes or no? If this inequality is clear, then this is question is now 0. Now this question doesn't have that strength now. We have broken this question because this was the main crux of the question. Okay. So now when you solve it, you get n greater than equal to 8. Okay. When you solve it, you get n equal to n greater than equal to 8, which means then the possible value of n is only 10, right? Only 10. Okay. So this is clear, right? So n is greater than equal to 8, right? Okay. Now the question 10, 11, 12, they are the easy ones. So we are not going to discuss those questions. Okay. They are one line, two line, straightforward question based on the formula. Okay. So the 13th question is little interesting one. So question is some integration is given u1 equal to integration 0 raised to the power pi by 2 x raised to the power n sin x, and some this equation we have to find u10 plus 90 u8. Okay, so this question is very important question. Also mark a star on this question, student. Mark a star on this question. Okay, double star. In fact, this is a very good question. Very good question. Okay, and at the same time easy one also. So how you approach this question? See, u10 is given, right? u10 is given, and how do you use this x raised to the power n sin x? By use by parts, right? First equation, first function, second function, then use the formula by part, then you find, right? So what I'm doing is I'm considering u10 now, right? So u10 would be integration 0 to pi by 2 x raised to the power 10 sin x. Okay, sin x. See why I'm starting from u10 not from u8, because I know I have to use by part. So after using by part, the power in x will get reduced, right? One at a time, one at a time. So there are the chances that I can get the x raised to the power 8, right? But if you start from u8, then you will get x raised to the power 7, x raised to the power 6, and there is no relation is given, right? So it will become lengthy, and I don't think you can solve this. So start with the bigger number, which is u10, and then start using it. So this is first function, and this is second function. Okay, how you use the by parts? So u10 becomes u10 is equal to first function into integration of second, and integration of sin x is what? This is second function, right? Minus cos x 0 pi by 2 minus time integration differentiation of first 10 x raised to the power 9 integration of second, which is minus cos x. So cos x, and this minus will come here, it will make it plus, right? Now, okay, so now when you put x pi by 2 here, when you put x pi by 2 here, then cos pi by 2 will make it 0, and when you put x 0, then x raised to the power 10 it make it 0. So this is 0, right? This is 0. So what you are left with? You started with u10, now you are left with u10 is equal to 10 times pi by 2 x raised to the power 9 cos x, right? See, if it is given in this some question that u10 plus something in u9, because this integration is now u9, right? This integration is u9, but we don't need u9, we need u8 now, right? So further start solving it. So again, first function, second function, right? So take this x raised to the power as first function, and this as second function, right? First function here also, second function here, right? So u10 will become 10 times. Okay, now first function into integration of second. What is the integration of cos x? Sin x, right? And there is a limit from 0 to pi by 2, yes or no? Okay, now, okay, so 10 is just with the whole integration, right? So I will make it at the outside. Minus time integration differentiation of first, which is 9 x raised to the power x, integration of second is cos x, which is sin x, right? Integration of cos x is sin x. Yes or no? Is this clear? And 10 is still outside bracket, right? So see, u10 becomes 10 times, put pi by 2, what you get? Pi by 2 raised to the power 9, and sin pi by 2 is 0 1, sorry, and when you put 0 you get 0, right? So only pi by 2 raised to the power 9 after this, minus 9 times integration 0 to pi by 2 x raised to the power x sin x, right? We still don't know the integration of this. Okay, no problem. Now open this bracket becomes 10 times pi by 2 raised to the power 9 minus 90. Okay, now see, that's why we started with u10, right? Now you see the benefit of starting with u10. This thing right here is u8, yes or no? This thing right here is u8. Putting n equal to 8 in the starting, you will get this thing, right? X raised to the power x sin x, and limit is from 0 to pi by 2. So sir, it implies u10 plus 90 u8 is 10 times pi by 2 raised to the power 9. So this is the answer, right? This is the final answer. So that's why it was the important question, because most of the students give up after the first by part. But no, you have to remember, you have to go till U8, right? So that's why you have to go further. You have to use the second by part also, right? So U10 plus 90 U8 is 10 times 5 by 2, 9, right? And the second hand you can get it from, it's asking 90 U8. How you get 90 U8? How you get 90 U8? Tell me. 90 U8 x raised to the power 10, and someone is saying you have to get 90 somehow in the equation. So the only way is by differentiating it 2 times, right? Right? First, and then after it become 9x raised by 8, right? Then only you get the 90, right? So from there also you can get the hint, right? Okay, I have to differentiate x raised to the power 10 to sometime 2, right? So somehow I have to differentiate it 2 times to make it 90, right? So that's why the question also itself gives you the hint if you are able to catch it. Okay, so I believe that question is clear, right? So let's move on to the next one. See, the next one is also similar. It's giving you the some kind of hint. Okay, see, the question is integration 0 to 8 f of x dx is equal to 3. Then there is some summation is given. Summation is given, and the problem with summation is, see, that the limit is 0 to 1, and in the question it's given for the limit 0 to 8, right? Okay, so how we will start solving it? First of all, consider this summation. Okay, consider this summation. Okay, so this summation is what? Summation k raised to the power 1 8 integration 0 to 1 f of k minus 1 plus x, it is given, right? So what is this? This is, start putting k value from 1 to 8. So this is 0 to 1 f of x. Now put k equal to 2. So k equal to 2, 0 to 1 f of x plus 1 dx. Here also dx. Don't get confused. Okay. Again, put k equal to 3 f of x plus 2 dx. And up to put k equal to finally 8 f of x plus 7, right? So this thing is given, right? So we have to find the equation. We have to find the answer of this. So how you do this? See, what I'm doing is consider, because the limit is from 0 to 1, right? And there are some expression with f of x plus 1, f of x plus 2, f of x plus 3, like this. So somehow we have to reduce those expression into f of x. Then only we can proceed, right? Because in the question the value is given for the f of x, right? Consider integration 0 to 1 f of x plus 1 dx. Okay, so let's consider this. Now see how this proceed. Let x plus 1 is equal to t. Okay, so now differentiate both sides. So dx is dt, right? Okay, now at x is equal to 0, t is 1, right? Put x equal to 0 here, and for x equal to 1, t is 2, right? So what is this become? This expression become integration 1 to 2 f of t dt, but t is still a variable, right? So do variable change. Okay, what does this mean, sir? So this means, again, now you can put t, replace t by x, right? T is still a variable, right? So replace t by x. Okay, so now replace t by x. So what you will get? See, you get integration 1 to 2 f of x dx, right? So it implies that integration 0 to 1 f of x plus 1 dx is this. So similarly, when you do it for the f of x plus 2, f of x plus 3, f of x plus 7, so similar thing will happen. Replace x plus 2 by t, then x plus 3 by t, then x plus 4 by t. So similarly, integration 0 to 1 f of x plus 2 will become integration 2 to 3 f of x dx. Okay, and like that integration 0 to 1 f of x plus 3 will become integration 3 to 4 f of x dx. Okay, so integration 0 to 1 f of x plus 7 dx. Okay, sometimes I just forget that dx is also exist because we are so used to with the integration part, right? We are so concerned with the integration, we forgot dx exists. So excuse me if I miss it sometimes. Okay, so it becomes 7 8 f of x dx, right? So what is my equation become? My equation now become, sir, it is integration 0 to 1 f of x dx plus integration 1 to 2 f of x dx plus integration 2 to 3 f of x dx integration 7 to 8 f of x dx, right? Now see, integration 0 to 1, then 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, 3 to 4, like that 7 to 8. So this is the nothing but integration 0 to 8, right? F of x dx, right? So which is 3. So this is your answer, right? So this thing you know, right? So let's say this is your some function. Let's say this is my function and this is 1, 2, 3 and up to 8. What is the integration 0 to 1? Tell me. See, when I'm doing the integration 0 to 1, the value which I'm getting is it is the area under this, right? Right? Don't, okay, forget about area. Integration 0 to 1 is like this. Then integration 1 to 2 is this. Integration 2 to 3 is between this. So instead of doing the individual integration, can I do it from 0 to 3? Then also I still get this value, right? And you know this is also a property, right? Integration a to b plus integration b to c f of x dx f of x dx is equal to nothing but integration a to c f of x dx, right? So that's why I use the property, right? And the value of this is given already in the question. So that's why the answer is still 3, right? Okay. So it's an easy question compared to the what kind of question we have done in the definite integral. So this should be the easy problem. Okay. Okay. Now let's solve this question. See, the question is f of x is given and some value is given, integration 0 to 1. This thing is given, f of x minus f of 2x dx is 5, and integration 0 to 2 f of x minus f of 4x dx equal to 10. And the value I have to find is integration 0 to 1 f of x minus f of 8x. Okay. So how you will do this? So what I'm doing is start with this value f of x minus f of 4x. Okay. So consider integration 0 to 2 f of x minus f of 4x dx, which is 10. Okay, which is 10, right? Now tell me, now what I want is, I want to make this 4x somehow 8, because in the question they are asking f of x minus f of 8x. So somehow I have to get 8x, right? So how you will get 8x? Now let x is equal to 2t. Okay, so dx is do dt, yes or no? Okay, so what will this become when x is 0? When x is 0, my t is also 0. When x is 2, my t is 1. See, My limit also becomes 0 to 1, right? Because I have to half this limit also, right? Because in answer it is 0 to 1. In question it's 0 to 1, and but the information given from 0 to 2. So for that also I have to take care of this 2 also. So that's why we assume the x equal to 2 also, right? So it's 0 to 1. So what is that? F of 2t minus f of 8t, right? dt, and dx is do dt, so 2 will reflect outside, right? Equal to 10. Yes or no? Okay. Now it becomes integration 0 to 1 f of 2t minus f of 8t dt equal to 5. Okay. See, now the variable is what? T. Variable is t. So we can replace the variables, right? We can replace the variable. Now now variable change. Variable change. We in the definite integration or indefinite, the variable doesn't play any role, right? So replace t to x. So what you will get? You get integration 0 to 1 f of 2x minus f of 8x dx is equal to 5. Yes or no? So what I'm doing is, let's call this equation 1 and equation 2, which is given already, which is 0 to 1 f of x minus f of 8x, sorry, f of x minus f of 2x, right? F of x minus f of 2x dx is equal to 5, right? This is equation 2. Now you can add the equation 1 and 2, right? Add this equation 1 and 2, and equation 1 and 2 can add easily also, because the limit is 0 to 1 in both the equation, right? So add equation 1 and 2. What you will get? You get integration 0 to 1 f of x minus f of 2x, then plus f of 2x minus f of 8x dx, and the right hand side 5 plus 5 is 10, right? See, this 2 and this 2 cancel it. So it becomes integration 0 to 1 f of x minus f of 8x dx 10, right? And this is what asking in the equation, right? Find the value of integration 0 to 1 f of x minus f of 8x dx, right? So that's why, see, so that's why this is the important question, good question, not the very good question, because it's the easy one, because see, the hint was already clear in the question. It is given that integration 0 to 2, but in the it is asking the integration 0 to 1. In such type of question, we replace the variable with double of the variable, right? So that the limit gets half, right? So that's why we assume x equal to 2t, and then we proceed with the question, right? Okay. So this is clear, right? Very good question. Nice question. Okay. Now the 16th question. This is something, right? This question, I think most of you haven't got this question right. I can assume if someone got this right, congratulations to him, because it's a very good question. The thinking part is very good. It's the one property that can break this question in the starting. Using property integration a to b f of x dx is equal to integration a to b f of a plus b minus x dx. So this is the main property that we have to use in this question. Okay, so let's see how we can use this property. Okay, so what I'm doing is, I'm considering with the LHS. Okay, considering with LHS. So what is my LHS? LHS is Question is asking that we have to find that integration 0 to a fx gx hx dx is equal to k times something, right? K time integration 0 to a fx gx dx, and then we have to find the value of k, and some relation is given between f of x, g of x, right? And now you can get the hint of this property by seeing a minus x, a minus x, a minus x. So the only way I can get the a minus x is by using this property a plus 0 minus x, right? So LHS is given integration 0 to a f of x, g of x, h of x. Okay, right? So which is using this property. I'm using this property right now. Use this property, you get 0 to a f of a minus x, g of a minus x, and h of a minus x dx. Okay, using property, using above property. Yes or no? Okay, sir. So now after what I do, so see, f of a minus x value is given, g of a minus x is given, h of a minus x is given in fact. So just replace these value, because so what you get? You get integration 0 to a. What is f of a minus x? F of x. G of a minus x, g of x, and h of a minus x is 3h of x minus 5 by 4 dx. Yes or no? Okay. So now break this. So what you get? You get 3 by 4 integration 0 to a f of x, g of x, h of x minus 5 by 4 integration 0 to a f of x, g of x, right? And dx is also there. Okay. So I just separated this denominator and then multiply this outside with the each of the term and then separated the integration. So the two step I did between this and this step, right? So those are the pretty straightforward. Okay. So but you can imagine, right, what I did. Just first separating this new denominator with each of the numerator, and then I multiplied f of x, g of x with each of the term, and then separating the integration with each of those terms, right? Okay. So now in the question, do you see this? What is this? The value of this is given, right? What is the value of this? K time integration 0 to a f of x, g of x dx minus 5 by 4 integration 0 to a f of x, g of x dx, right? So this because we have to find the equation value of k, but this equation, that integration 0 to a f of x, g of x, h of x is equal to k times integration 0 to a f of x, g of x dx. So I just replace this with this because or the second term is with only f of x and g of x. So that's why I can add these two terms or separate these two terms, right? So now combine these two terms. What you get? You get 3 by 4 k minus 5 by 4 integration 0 to a f of x, g of x dx, right? So this is my LHS, right? This is my LHS. What is the RHS? RHS is k time integration 0 to a f of x, g of x dx. Now equate the, now what I'm going to do is pretty straightforward, right? Equate LHS equal to RHS. It implies 3 by 4k minus 5 by 4 integration 0 to a f of x, g of x dx is equal to k time, what is RHS? K time 0 to a f of x, g of x dx, right? See, these two integrations are equal, right? So when then k, see, let's say this has some value alpha, this value has some alpha. This is something finite after putting the value, right? After putting the value of this become finite, right? So these two will get cancelled out here, right? Because after putting the limit a 0a, it gets some number, right? So let's say alpha. So these two cancel out. So it implies what? It implies, see, 3k minus 5 is equal to 4k. Yes or no? Yes or no? 3k minus 5 by 4 is equal to k. So it implies k is equal to minus 5, right? K is equal to minus 5, right? So this is the value of k. So now you can check the options, okay? So this is the value of k, right? So that's why the property f of a b, f of x dx is equal to f of limit a to b integration f of a plus b minus x dx is the most important property of the integration, and along with the other one also, okay? So that's why we use the property in the starting, because we know that there's a minus x is given in the equation. So how I can create my a minus x? By putting f of x, by using this property, right? So that's why we use, right? Okay, so this is clear, right? Okay, so now let's proceed to the next one. This is very easy question, very easy one. I think everybody should get this, at least this, right? Because this is like the bonus, okay? Bonus marks, okay? See, alpha is given in the question, alpha is given and beta is given in form of limit, okay? In form of limit, and I have to find the relation between alpha and beta, okay? So then let's start how to solve this. First of all, start with alpha, okay? Alpha is limit n tend to infinity. See, 1 square plus 2 square plus up to n square is what? What is the sum of the first n natural number with the square of the each term? Is the n plus 1, 2n plus 1 by 6? Yes or no? And n cube is already there. And how we find the limit when n is infinity? By making the 1 by n type of form, right? It means limit n tend to infinity. Take the n common in from the numerator, so it becomes n cube. So this n is outside, so it becomes 1 plus 1 by n. This, taking this n also outside, so it becomes 2 plus 1 by n and 6n cube, right? This and this cancel out. Now put the n equal to infinity, so alpha is become 1 by 3, right? Okay, so this is the value of alpha, right? So now the beta is also straightforward. See, beta is, now see, in the beta, 1 cube minus 1 square plus 2 cube minus 2 square, like this. What I'm doing is, I'm taking the cubic term one side, grouping the cubic term in one group and the square term in the other group, right? So see, how does this look? Beta will look something like this. Limit n tend to infinity, 1 cube, 2 cube, up to n cube, minus 1 square, 2 square, n square, right? So now I think everybody can solve this one, right? And see, n raised to the power 4 is already in the denominator, right? So now separate this n raised to the power 4. So beta will become limit n tend to infinity. Okay, what I'm doing, what is the cube? What is the cube of first n natural number? Tell me, student. So it is n square, n plus 1 whole square by 4 minus square. The first n natural number with the square on each term is n plus 1, 2n plus 1 by 6, and n cube is already present, right? Now separate the n cube in each of the limit. So limit become beta, limit n tend to infinity, n raised to the power 4, right? So n square, n plus 1 whole square by 4n raised to the power 4 minus limit n tend to infinity, n plus 1, 2n plus 1 by 6n raised to the power 4, right? Just now we saw that with the n cube, right? The similar term with the n cube. It means we get one n is left in the denominator, right? And after putting that n to infinity, this limit will get 0, right? So this limit will get 0. Yes or no? Yes, right? See? So beta would be limit n tend to infinity. So taking the n common in the numerator, it becomes n raised to the power 4 times 1 plus 1 by n whole square divided by 4n raised to the power 4 minus limit n tend to infinity 1 plus 1 by n 2 plus 1 by n divided by 6n. So this thing will get infinity, right? This thing will get 0 because now this thing is 0, this thing is 0. So 2 times numerator is 2, denominator is infinity, so it is 0. So now n raised to the power 4, n raised to the power 4. Now put the n infinity, so beta is 1 by 4. Okay, so it means it implies 4 beta is equal to 3 alpha. Yes or no? Yes or no? So this is the relation between alpha and beta, right? So simple question. So direct formula based question, right? So I hope this is clear to everyone, right? So now moving on to the next one. Okay, this is also a straightforward one. See, the question is limit x tend to minus 1 by root 2 f of x minus 2 divided by 2x square minus 1. Okay, equal to 3 5. Now try to put this x equal to minus 1 by root 2 in the denominator of this. What you get? 0. You get 0, right? 2 times, see, 2 times minus 1 by root 2 square minus 1 is 0, right? It's 0. But see, limit is finite, right? But limit is finite. But limit is finite, right? 3 pi. In fact, it is given 3 pi, right? It is given 3 pi. So only way this can be become 3 pi, it means my numerator limit should be 0, right? It implies when I'm doing this, what it means, it implies limit x tend to minus 1 by root 2 f of x minus 2 should be approached to 0. Then only it can become 0 by 0 form, no? Then only it can become 0 by 0 form, and then only we get the our limit finite. Yes or no, student? Yes or no? So see, it is f of x minus 2, right? F of x minus 2, right? Okay. So now f of x minus 2. So this can be written as limit x tend to minus 1 by root 2 f of x limit x tend to minus 1 by root 2 is equal to 0. So what is this? This is 2, right? When x is 10 to minus 1 by root 2, this is already 2, right? So it implies limit x tend to minus 1 by root 2 f of x is 2, right? But now what is asking in the question? What is asking in the question? Question is asking me that I should find this limit x tend to minus 1 by root 2 e raised to the power f of x. Okay. Okay. So how you will find this? So limit x tends to minus 1 by root 2 e raised to the power f of x. Tell me, this can be written as e raised to the power limit x tend to minus 1 by root 2 f of x, right? Because limit is in x, right? Limit is in x. So e does not playing any role, right? E does not playing any role for whatever value I am getting for the e raised to the power f x. It is by putting x, right? So that's why I can separate my limit here. So what is my limit of this? What is this value? Just we found out. It is nothing but e raised to the power 2, right? So this is the answer, right? So answer is e square, right? So straightforward question, student. Very straightforward question. So the only funda of this question was we should know that my denominator is becoming 0 when I'm putting x equal to 1 minus 1 by root 2, but the limit is given finite. So the only way it is possible when the numerator is also approaching to 0 when x is minus 1 by root 2. So if anybody got that thing correct, so it means he has solved the entire question. Okay. So this is clear, right? Easy question, right? Okay. So now let's proceed to the next one. So next one is saying that we have to find the acute angle of intersection between these two curves. First curve is y equal to x square parabola. Second curve is given in the parametric equation, right? So now focus on the second curve. Second curve, let's say this is C2 and this is C1, okay? So I'm writing for C2. For C2, what I'm doing is 3x by 5 is cos t. Yes or no? 3x, x is equal to 5 by 3 cos t. So it means 3x by 5 is cos t. And 4y by 5 is sin t. Yes or no? Yes or no? So now square both things. Square both equation. Let's say equation 1, equation 2. Square both equation. So we get square, add and square. Square both is equation 1 and 2 and add. So we get 3x by 5 whole square plus 4y by 5 y 4y by 5 y square is equal to what? Cos square t plus sin square t, which is nothing but 1, right? So I believe we are getting some ellipse equation, right? Equation of ellipse. So after solving it, you get 9x square plus 16y square is equal to 25, right? Right? So this is the C2 curve and C1 curve is what? Y is equal to x square. Now put y is equal to x square in C2. Okay. Put y equal to x square in C2. So what you get? You get sorry. I don't want I see even if I put y equal to x square, I get the power 4 equation, right? Why use power 4? But when I have the option to make this in quadratic, right? So I will try to reduce my equation, right? What I'm doing is I'm putting x square equal to y. See, so now if you put x square equal to y, then this will become quadratic, right? So it become 9y plus 16y square is equal to 25. Yes or no? See, so what you get is you get equation y is equal to 1 and y is equal to minus 25 by 16. Okay. So tell me, is y equal to minus 25 by 16 is acceptable or not? See, y is x square. Y is x square. It means y should be y is x square. So y is always greater than equal to 0, right? So that's why we can reject this equation. This. So y is 1. So it implies x is also 1, right? X is also 1, right? Okay. So now you do. So how you find the equation? So what is the point of intersection? 1 comma 1, right? 1 comma 1. So for y equal to x square, y equal to x square, dy by dx is 2x, and at x is equal to 1, it is 2. So let's say this is m1. Okay. Now for what was that? 9x square plus, sorry, I forgot what was the 9x square plus 16y square equal to, yes, 16y square equal to 16y square equal to 25, right? Okay, now do the dy by dx in this. So what do you get? 18x plus 16 times 2 dy by dx is equal to 0. So m2, which is equal to dy by dx at x is equal to 1 and y equal to 1 to y you get what? Tell me what you will get. What you will get? 9 by 16. Yes or no? 9 by 16. So M1 is, it means the M1 is given. It means the, what is your M1? The slope of tangent at the point of intersection on y equal to x square. What is M2? The slope of tangent at the point of intersection on my C2 curve, right? On my C2 curve. Yes or no? So what is that acute angle? Tan theta would be nothing but under root M1 minus M2 divided by 1 plus M1 M2. Yes or no? Yes or no? When you put the M1 M2, when you put the value of M1 M2, 2 plus 9 by 16 divided by 1 minus 9 by 16 times 2, you get 41 by 2. Okay, this is the modulus. Okay, so theta is tan inverse 41 by 2. Okay, theta is nothing but tan inverse 41 by 2. Okay, so this is the answer. This is the answer. Okay, so this is your the multi correct choice question. Okay, but there are five questions are left, which are the numerical type question rest. So now let's discuss those questions also, numerical type question. So numerical type questions were the easy question, I believe, except one or two questions. So we'll solve each and every one. Don't worry, students. So, but the question should be very clear to you. Let's say this first question. The first question is saying A, 2B and C are distinct numbers and they are in AP. And there is some line, equation of line is given. And the thing that is given is this equation of line is passing from fixed point P comma Q, right? So we have to find some modulus P plus 2Q, right? So whenever this type of thing is given, we all know that we have to express the line in L1 plus lambda L2 form, right? L1 plus lambda L2 equal to 0. Then that line passes from L1 equal to 0 and L2 equal to 0 point of intersection, right? L1 and L2 point of intersection, right? And how we will get the lambda? For that we need some equation, and the equation is given. Which is the equation? A, 2B, C are in AP, right? It implies 2B is nothing but A plus C by 2. It implies 4B is equal to A plus C, right? So what is the value of C? C is 4B minus A. Yes or no? C is 4B minus A. Now put the value of C in line. Okay. So what you get? You get AX plus BY plus C. C is 4B minus A is equal to 0. So when you rearrange it, you get A times X minus 1 plus B times Y plus 1 is equal to 0. So X minus 1 plus B by A divide Y plus 1 is equal to 0. Yes or no? I'm dividing the whole equation by A, right? So now see, this is, let's say this is lambda. So this is now L1 plus lambda L2. What is the point of intersection? Point of intersection is X equal to 1 and Y equal to minus 1, which is P and Q, right? So modulus of P plus 2Q would be what? Tell me, modulus of P plus 2Q. P plus 2Q, it was asking. Oh, okay. So there is a mistake. Okay, no problem. No problem. See, this is 4B, right? So it become Y plus 4, Y plus 4, right? So Y will be not minus 1, but minus 4, right? So what will be the P plus 2Q? P plus 2Q would be modulus of P2Q. P plus 2Q would be 7, right? So there was a mistake. So when you solve this, you will get A times X minus 1 plus B times Y plus 4 equal to 0, right? So now this is in the form of L1 plus lambda L2, right? So now this is clear, right? Okay. Another question 2. This is good question. Okay. Above, you can say above average kind of questions, but still the easy question, right? So the x is given log 2, y is given log 3, and the base, okay, so it is given, okay, base is 10, okay. And it's given that a plus bx plus cy is equal to log 1 plus log 1 plus 3 log 1 plus 3 plus 5 and so on up to log 1 plus 3 plus 5 up to 9 minus 2 times, okay, this thing. Okay, so let's start. So how you do this? First of all, what is this? Okay, so let's start. See, what is question saying? Question is saying that a plus bx plus cy is equal to log 1 plus log 1 plus 3 up to log up to, okay, so it's up to log 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 19, right? Okay, so what is this? It is log 1 plus log 4 plus, just next time would be log 3 plus 5, right? So it would be log 9 and up to, what is this? This is the AP, right? Common difference is 2, first term is 1, last term is 19. So when you do it, it will become log 100, right? Okay. Okay. So it is log 100. And what we have now? We have, okay, so let's say we are considering only this term. Okay. So it become what? See, you can write this as log 2 times log 1 plus 2 times log 2 plus 2 times log 3 and 2 times log 10, right? Take the 2 common, and become 2 times log 2, right? It become 1 log 1 plus log 2 plus log 3 and so on, like log 1 plus log 2 and up to log 10, right? So this can be written as 2 times log 10 factorial, yes or no? Right? Now a plus bx plus cy can be written as 2 times log 10 factorial plus, sorry, so it was minus, right? It was minus, right? Minus 2 times log 1 plus log 2 plus log 3, it becomes log 1 into times log 1, 2, 3, 7. So which becomes 2 times log 10 factorial minus 2 times log 7 factorial, right? So it is 2 times log 10 factorial by 7 factorial, yes or no? Which is 2 times log 10, 9, 8, right? 2 times log 10, 9, 8 and 7 factorial get cancelled out. So now that a plus bx plus cy becomes what? Tell me now. 2 times log 10 plus log 9 plus log 8, yes or no? Which is 2 times 1 plus this is 2 times log 3 and this is 3 times log 2, yes or no? This is 3 times log 2, right? So it becomes 2 plus, okay, so it becomes 2 plus, so it becomes 2 plus 6 log 2 plus 2 log 3, right? So a plus bx plus cy, right? A plus bx plus cy. So what is log 2? X. What is log 3? Y. So it implies a is 2, b is 6, c is 2. Sorry, sorry student, so it becomes 4 times log 3, right? 4 times log 3, right? It becomes 4 times log 3. So it was 2 times log 9. So 9 can be written as 3 square. So it becomes 4 times log 3. Okay. 4 times y, right? And c is 4. Yes or no? Then 2a plus 3b plus 5c. Find it. You will get 42. Okay. You will get 42. So that's the answer. Okay. Now this question. So this question is a nice question. The beautifully written. So the thing is, there's 4 vectors given p, q, r, s, such that the s equation is this. Okay, the equation s vector is equal to x times p cross q plus y times q cross r plus z times r cross p, and the box of p q r is 8, right? Okay, so this thing we have to find, right? So first of all, tell me what is box of p q r. We all know it is p cross q dot r. Yes or no? And also I'm writing it here. See, we also know box of p, box of q, box of r, it can be equal to box of q r p, which is equal to r p q, right? The cyclic order, cyclic order, right? Okay, so now if we know already these things, so then this question is nothing. So what I'm doing is s dot p plus q plus r I'm considering. Okay, and I know the value, it's given 16. So first, what is s dot p? See, when you do the s dot p, you get what? You get x time. When you go with p cross q dot p, it will be 0. Q, see, I'm writing here. So I'm writing for s dot p. Then I will do that for s dot q and s dot r directly. Okay, so pay attention here. So s dot p would be p cross q dot r plus y q cross r dot p plus z r cross p dot p, right? Okay, now tell me what is this? Tell me what is this? So p, s dot p, right? Okay, s dot p. Tell me what is this? See, p cross q means a vector which is perpendicular to both p and q, and dot product of that vector with p is 0, right? So tell me this is 0. Okay, and this is r cross p. Similarly, this thing also 0. This is r cross p is a vector which is perpendicular to both r and p, and dot p would give me the angle between the two vector, right? Both are at 90 degrees, so it is also 0. So s dot p is nothing but y times q cross r dot p, which is qrp. And see, we know that box of qrp is equal to box of pqr. So you can write it as box of pqr, right? So this is, let's say this is equation 1. Now consider similarly. So now you understood, right? So similarly, when you do it for s dot q, similarly s dot q would become what? Tell me, s dot q become z times r cross p dot q, right? And other thing, they are giving you a vector which is perpendicular to q, and then you are doing the dot product with q, right? So the box of that thing would be 0, right? So it is z of times box of r p q, which can be written as box of pqr, right? Cyclic property. And s dot r would be x times p cross q dot r, which is x times box of p, q, r. Yes or no? So let's say this is equation 2, this is equation 3. Add equation 1, equation 2, equation 3. Okay. So I'm adding this equation. So in the left hand side, I get s dot p, s dot q, s dot r, and right hand side I get x plus y plus z times box of pqr. And student, tell me, box of pqr value it's given or not? It's given, which is 8. And see, it can be written as s dot p plus q plus r. Yes or no? Which is 8 times x plus y plus z. Yes. And the value of this is given, right? The value of this is 16. So 16 is equal to 8 times x plus y plus z. So do you see the value of x plus y plus z now? Is equal to 2. Any doubt? See, that's how we done it, right? So the question was very simple. The s was very scary, but when you are taking a dot product one at a time with p, then q, then r, then the two terms get 0, and the only thing that you get is box of pqr, right? Okay. So now let's move on to the next one. Question 4. It's a simple question. Question 4 is saying that A is a diagonal of what order? A is a diagonal matrix which has order 6, okay? And its diagonal entries are positive. Let's say how you will draw your order 6 matrix which is diagonal. So let's say A, B, C, D, E, F, right? Diagonal matrix, it means other terms are 0. Yes or no? Other terms are 0. That's why it is a diagonal matrix. Okay. So, and question is saying that its determinant is 64. Okay, let's say this is a matrix A. So determinant of A is 64, which is given. Okay, I have to find the minimum value of trace of A. Okay, minimum value of trace of A. Trace of A is what? Trace of A is sum of the diagonal entries, right? So A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F, right? And the product mod A is 64. Okay, so tell me what is the determinant of A? Determinant of A is A, B, C, D, E, F, right? The product multiplication of the diagonal element are the determination, yes or no? Is the determination? And it is, sorry, it is a determinant and it is given 64 and some value minimum value of A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F I have to find, right? See, there are 6 unknown and see the product is of this unknown 64 and I have to find minimum value. So when the value will be minimum, minimum value when? Minimum value when? We know this. When A is equal to B is equal to C equal to D is equal to E equal to F, right? So when these all values are equal, then only it can be minimum, right? So it implies trace of A value minimum is what? 2 times A, all are equal, let's say 2 times A, right? But still we don't know A, right? But determinant is given 64. Determinant is all A, B, C, D, E, F are equal. So A raised to the power is 64. So tell me A is 2 or not? A is 2. So the minimum value of trace of A is 12. See, A can be 2 or minus 2 here. See why I have not taken the minus 2 is because it's given the positive entries. Okay. So that's why the minus 2 value, it's already been rejected because the elements are positive in the diagonal elements, right? Rejected. So that's why I have not considered the minus 2 value here. Okay. So now the question is clear. Answer is clear. trace of a is 12, right? So now let's move on to the next question. The question is saying that f of x is continuous and f of 3 is 0 and f dash 3 is equal to 6. Then I have to find this limit. Okay. So first of all, f dash 3 is given, right? Only value that is given is 6. So I have to work with that. So what is f dash 3? It is limit h tend to 0, f of 3 plus h minus f of 3 by h. Yes or no? But f of 3 is given 0. So it implies limit h tends to 0, f of 3 plus h by h is 6. Okay, so I have this equation now with me. Let's call this equation A, and what is given to me is f of 3 plus 3x plus f of 3 plus 5x by x. We have to find the limit of this expression at x equal to 0. Okay, so limit x is equal to 0, f of 3 plus 3x plus f of 3 plus 5x by x. Okay, so now separate this limit. So it becomes limit x tends to 0, f of 3 plus 3x by x plus limit x tends to 0, f of 3 plus 5x by x. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm multiplying 3 and dividing by 3. Okay, multiplying here 5, dividing by 5. So what I get limit 3 times limit x tends to 0. This 3 gets forward. So f of 3 plus 3x upon my 3x, right? Plus 5 times plus 5 times limit f of 3 plus 5x by 5x. Yes or no? Now tell me what is the value of this limit. See, f of f, limit x tends to 0, f of x plus h by h, where h is tending to 0 is 0. So let's assume my 3x is t, right? Let 3x is t. So it means you can write it like let 3x is t and 5x is h. Okay, so it becomes 3 times limit x tends to 0, f of 3 plus t by t, right? Plus 5 times limit x tends to 0, f of 3 plus h by h. Yes or no? Value, we know the value of this is 6. Value of this is 6, right? So 3 times 6 plus 5 times 6, which is 48, right? Which is 48. So the answer is 48. So that was your paper, students, right? So this was the paper. So I hope each and every doubts are clear to you. So only advice I can give you is just go through with each and every question and try to find your mistakes in the exam that you made. Okay, whether it is that you made some questions that you take the value wrong, or you did some mistake in the plus minus sign, or maybe you did with the you fill the options wrong. So whatever the mistake is, now rectify it and try to improve it in the next paper. Okay, so that's all for today. Okay, so I hope everybody will do better next time. Okay, we will meet next time. Okay, so thank you, take care, and best of luck for your JEE. Okay, bye bye.